Hello! So for this part of the activity, I decided to do the visual representation instead of the lesson plan. I really like that option because in doing all of the lesson plans for the unit assignment this week, I thought it was a really good idea to actually do the activity and show the visual representation of me doing the activity rather than sitting down and writing another lesson plan. So I really like that option. The manipulative activity that I chose to do is It's All in a Day. I really liked this activity because it shows students how fractions are used with everyday activities. So it really emphasizes the real world concepts for this lesson or this activity. So I just kind of highlighted the objective that I found for this activity. It says students will gather data and make estimates about what fraction is represented by each category. They will also represent fractions on a circle graph. And then the materials that I used, the manipulative pieces that I used for this activity were these fraction circles for the overhead. So for the warm-up, I labeled that as the in-to part of, if I were to write this into a lesson plan, this would be the in-to part. Ask students to brainstorm about the different types of activities carried out in a day. 1 or 2 students can be class recorders at the board. After a list of several activities has been generated, estimate the fractional part of the class that engages in each activity. So I'm not going to read the example, for example, but I did this activity, so I'll just show you right here in my paper. Warm-up, brainstorm different activities in a day. So I kind of just went through and wrote different activities that I think students would raise their hand and want to write on the board about what students actually do every day. So wake up, brush teeth, eat breakfast, walk to school, or ride the bus to school, or drive to school, watch TV, play video games, do homework, walk the dog, take out the trash, or practice your instrument. If some students, let's say these are 5th graders, they are in band, so they have to practice their instrument daily. So then as a class, we would go together and let's say I kind of estimated a class of 20 students, and we would go down the list and write how many students do the activity out of 20. So wake up, it would be obvious that 20 out of 20 students would wake up daily. We're saying that 20 out of 20 students brush their teeth daily. Hopefully all the students are brushing their teeth daily. Eat breakfast is different. So not every student actually eats breakfast daily. So we're just going to say 15 out of 20 students eat breakfast daily. 5 out of 20 students will walk to school daily. 10 out of 20 students ride the bus. 5 out of 20 drive to school. 10 out of 20 students watch TV daily. 5 out of 20 play video games daily. 20 out of 20 students are hopefully doing their homework daily. 5 out of 20 students have a chore of walking the dog daily. 5 out of 20 take out the trash. And 5 out of 20 practice their instrument. So as a class, we would also go down the list and simplify these fractions. 20 out of 20 is 1 whole. And brushing their teeth, 20 out of 20, that's also 1. And eating breakfast, 15 out of 20, we would simplify that to 3/4. Walking to school, that's 5 out of 20, we would simplify that to 1/4. 10 out of 20 is 2/4. And so you can see the rest going down the list. So for the next part, in the through part, to initiate the activity, It's All in a Day, asked students to take out this It's All in a Day activity sheet and ask how many hours there are in a day. So this is the activity sheet that I got from the manipulative book. It says, work with a partner to complete this activity sheet. List all of the things you do in a 24-hour day. Group these daily activities into at least 4 major categories. Record the categories below. Estimate the number of hours you spend on each activity and make sure your hours total 1 full day. So I did that. I kind of just put the really basic activities because it says narrow it down to at least 4 major categories. So I put sleep and that's 8 out of 24 hours a day. Going to school, that's 6 out of 24 hours a day. Eating, that's 4 out of 24 hours a day. And other would be homework, chores, or playing, that's 6 out of 24 hours a day. So like I did on the other brainstorming activity, I simplified. 8 out of 24, that's 1/3. 6 out of 24, that's 1/4. 4 out of 24, that's 1/6. And 6 out of 24, again, that's 1/4. So right here it says, find the fraction circle piece that most closely represents the amount of time spent doing each activity. Use the fraction circle pieces to sketch and label a certain graph of your day. A circle graph of your day, sorry. So for school, since I found that that was 1/4, I took my 1/4 piece and I drew that in my graph. Then I took my 1/6 piece and I drew that for eating. Then I'll take my 1/3 piece, and that's sleeping. And once again, the 1/4 piece is the other. So then I'd have the students show me how these fractions adding together equals 24 out of 24. So that's what I would want them to do during this activity. Right here it says, how did you decide which fraction circle piece matched an activity? And that's this part right here. How did we decide which fraction piece to use? Like, why did I choose the 1/3 or the 1/4 or the 1/6 or the 1/4? And the students would probably write something like, because we simplified the hours per day over the hours in a day fraction to find which fraction piece fits. And that's the answer that I would be looking for, is that we simplified this, hours per day over the hours that are in a day, to find which fraction piece we were going to use. So that's pretty much how I did this activity. The next part would be the beyond part, which says answer these questions, and that's something that the students would do on their own. How many hours of the day are represented by each type of fraction circle piece? Kind of explained that already. How did you find the right fraction circle piece? Explained that already also. So this is just something that I would want the students to do on their own as the beyond activity, to actually show me that they understood what they did for this activity. So that's my visual representation. Hope it's clear enough, and hope you guys enjoyed this activity as much as I did.